We good? Welcome, folks, back to the Craig Bushon Show live out here. You know, Heroes Night Out. Constantly, I'm talking about Heroes Night Out on the air. Why? Because it is a true veteran, pro-veteran, veteran ran. And when I say veteran ran, probably 2/3 of the people at this facility are veterans. Active, inactive, people as far back as Korea come into this place. It's right out here in Cedar Park, Texas. I'm so excited about coming out here, doing these broadcasts. We have the mobile studio here. We have the beautiful camo backdrop. Hopefully you can see it well. There's not too much glare. A little bit later on, there's some guys out here playing some music. There's a great new, let's call it a veteran-based rock and roll Woodstock being built. It's a fantastic organization being put together here at Heroes Night Out for veterans and their families. Anyone who can strum a guitar, maybe tap a cymbal against their leg. I don't care if you sing or whatever. They are totally into getting you up on stage and making sure that you can use your instruments or your vocal talents at any level right there on the stage. But it's exciting again here at Heroes Night Out. Go to heroesnightout.org. And donate. It's Christmas time right now, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever you celebrate. It is a very important time for families that are in need, and Heroes Night Out gives a lot to those families. Please make sure you go to heroesnightout.org and donate. Okay? It's a very difficult time for many people. Hey, and you know what? It should be a great time for everybody. But again, listen, the bottom line is this. I am not too excited about what I see in the media today. And as you know, what we've done with Be First in Media, Be First in Business, the Craig Bushon Show, obviously one of the flagship programs as I moved away from traditional AM and FM broadcasting to build out this media forum. The reason that we're doing it is that you're not getting the facts. You don't get the real information. You don't know what you should know. So it's garbage in, garbage out. If you get bad information, you can do nothing but give a bad decision. It's like reconnaissance, right? I mean, the bottom line is you get bad reconnaissance, you're going to make a bad decision, and bad things are going to happen. It's the same thing that's going on in this country. Listen, the bottom line is each week you're going to see me going through BeFirstInBusiness.com, BeFirstInMedia.com, and my Craig Bushon Show, and I'm going to be talking about the things that we post up on the websites. So if you want to know what we're going to talk about each week, you just look at the sites. There's a lot of information there, a lot of great information. And one of the big things that's going on right now is that what do you have? You have the unions. You have the unions pushing hot and heavy. What you see in New York City, they all want $15 an hour to flip a hamburger. You have Revenge Porn King hit by anonymous hackers. That's kind of funny, actually. I mean, that's kind of funny. You have on the post right of the Craig Bushon Show, Are We on the Titanic? That is a great read. Go to that post at craigbushon.com and read it. Are We the Titanic? Has a picture of the Titanic. You know, this. If you really look at the way this country was built, folks, it's a lot like how the Titanic was promoted. Unsinkable. Has all this technology. It's state of the art. It's got tons of money. I mean, the bottom line is it is something that is supposed to revolutionize the world, especially back in the early 1900s. No one ever saw anything like it. In the same way that no one in the 1700s saw anything like this country. And what's unique about those two things is that when you compare the Titanic and you compare the United States, the only difference between them right now is that the Titanic sank. See, right now, we feel like we're sinking, don't we? We're $16 trillion and growing in debt, and that's just the money that we count. Okay? That's like people, let me put it in a scenario, folks. That's like having a checking account that has $200 in it, all right? And it has $200 in it, and, you make, say, $1,000 a week. God, wouldn't that be great for many people? But you spend $1,200 a week. You don't have enough in your bank account, okay, to pay for your stuff, so you start doing what? Swiping credit cards. Now, swiping a credit card is not a paycheck. That's not an income. That is a debt. Every time you swipe that card to keep your lifestyle going, you go in the negative. You're not raising your income to do it. You're not making more money than paying for it. You're swiping a credit card. So we have a huge issue in this country. We have well over $1 trillion in credit card debt too, right? And that's personal credit card debt. Regular folks. Our national credit card debt is over $16 trillion. Okay? And then if you look at all the other things that we haven't paid for that we need to pay for, it's up over $70 trillion. So some people say there's no way out. Some people say we are the Titanic, and our crazy leaders is the captain in the helm. Go ahead. We're going to break all the records. Look at the stock market. It's doing great. Interesting, isn't it? I digress. Going back to the article. Are we on the Titanic? This is a great one. It's written by Brandon Lane. And he's a young man. You need to check him out, too. He's a great partner within Be First in Media. But it says, the great country of America can and will be compared to many things throughout its lifetime. I believe we can make a direct comparison with today's political issues and the direction of our country to the one and only Titanic, the great ship that was unsinkable. The Titanic managed to prove every person wrong who thought the Titanic could not sink. People believed that it was physically impossible for something of that stature to be broken. The people were wrong then, and they were wrong then, and they're wrong now. People have said that America is too great to ever fall, that a country of our stature and greatness cannot be broken. I wish such statements were true, but what can be built can be broken. It is a shameful mistake to think otherwise. Article goes on to say, we must first break down each comparison. On the ship you have the captain and his crew, which would be our government. The Titanic's great structure is our economy. The whole ship relies on it. Then you have all of the other issues such as government programs, gay marriage, abortion, and the EPA regulations. These are important issues and they need to be taken care of. These issues are comparable to things like the table arrangements, the menu, the music that is being played, and many other things that may make life aboard the Titanic much more enjoyable. But would these issues still be important if you knew they were going to end up in the water anyway? Well, I think not, right? Our economy is on the verge of collapse whether you have come to that realization or not. We are just a few decisions away from ending up like Greece. We are spending ourselves into oblivion and doing nothing to stop it. We haven't passed a real budget since 1997. Now think about that, folks. I mean, if you don't think there's a problem, and I have people within my own family that don't think it's a problem. If you don't think it's a problem that we do not have a budget in this country, we re-elected in this country a president that has a Senate that's ran by the Democrats that has no budget. So how is that we know what we can spend? It's impossible to know that. So what's the bottom line? The bottom line is we're not spending money that we know we have. We keep swiping the credit card because we have no paycheck coming in. We have no budget. We have no idea the amount of money that we can spend. So instead of worrying about that, honey, don't worry about that. Just go swipe the credit card. Okay? And those interest rates are climbing and climbing and climbing. Look at the cost of fuel. Look at the cost of milk. Look at the cost of health care. I know somebody that works for the Home Depot Corporation, okay, and their insurance went up $150 a month. $150 a month. 2 adults, 1 child. What's changed? Nothing within their family. Nothing other than we have Obamacare and we have the cost of doing business in this country skyrocketing, and the money has to be paid for somewhere, and it's going to come out of your pocket, all right? And anyone working at Home Depot, none of them are multimillionaires unless you own a piece of Home Depot. And the bottom line is everybody's going to start paying for the people who don't pay anything, okay? The Titanic sank because of arrogance. The Titanic sank because people didn't pay attention that was out in front of them. The bravado that was put out there by the captain, and then the people on the decks on the ship going, hey, whatever, just keep going. No one cared. Nobody cared. And that's why this is such a great article. And the article goes on to say, we are headed directly for the iceberg. In fact, our warning sirens are going off and the outline of the iceberg is just coming into view. People are gathering on the deck, screaming and yelling that we need to turn the ship to miss the iceberg. But for some reason, the captain and his crew tell us we need to keep moving forward. Hey, moving forward. That's a slogan I vaguely remember. Forward! Meanwhile, on the lower deck in the main hall, there is a select group of people getting rather upset that their filet mignon isn't cooked all the way through and that they aren't happy with the table arrangements. These would be important issues if the ship were not headed directly into an iceberg, and that would be its demise. America is the Titanic and is headed directly into the iceberg. America is the greatest country that has been on Earth, just as the Titanic was the greatest ship to ever be built. We cannot fool ourselves into thinking that we are unsinkable. We must realize we are just like everyone or everything else in this world, that we were built and we can be broken. We must understand that there are issues other than the economy that we hold close to our hearts. We can never forget about the things that we care about, but in this election, we must have set aside those issues, like gay marriage, like abortion, like all the things that get us, folks, paying attention to all the things that we should not be paying attention to. You know, the bottom line is this. The Constitution was there on purpose. And our founding fathers knew these days would come. They knew that people, leaders, apathy, lazy Americans, okay, illegal activity, greed, all the things they've saw through the history of time, okay, that they studied. They knew it would come. So they put fail-safes in. They put multiple fail-safes. And the first three words are the most important part of that fail-safe. We the people. Whether you believe it or not, the bottom line is nothing can be fixed in this country if we the people do not do something about it. Because all the other words after that mean nothing. All the other words that we have within our Declaration of Independence, our Bill of Rights, mean nothing if we the people do not prescribe to them and defend them and understand where we're at. And none of the issues that we talk about in politics these days, and 99% of what we spend our money on, have nothing to do with what it is that this country was designed to do. And that's to give people an equal opportunity for the pursuit of happiness. That's it. Not much more after that. Okay? And our sovereignty is now gone. Okay, we have border issues. We have state of Arizona's lost tremendous amount of its border to Mexico. I mean, maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what Mexico wants to do. You know, people did want to go back. You know, there is a war still going on. There are still people in Mexico that believe that California and Texas is still part of them. That's a fact. Okay? And I guess the Indians before that would think that, hey, this is all of our land. Okay? The bottom line is, folks, it can be a very confusing conversation. In the same way you would say, well, how did the Titanic sink? Because it hit an object that was there all along. Okay? And they could see it if they were looking. And if they chose not to look, or they chose to turn the other cheek, and when people choose not to take a hard look of where they're going down the road, they're going to end up on the wrong path. And that is where we're at in this country. Those are the things that we're dealing with right now. We have huge issues. And the article ends up this way. And it's so funny because it's in past tense. Please, before you vote in the 2012 election, think about who is more likely to save our economy and get us back on track. Always keep in the back of your mind that the stability of our economy is not guaranteed. We must come to the realization that if we allow ourselves to become distracted with the little issues, we are just rearranging the chairs in the Titanic. Once we are in the clear and are sailing smooth and true, we can work on rearranging the chairs. Remember, if we don't change direction to avoid the iceberg, there will be no chairs to rearrange. Okay? And again, that's from Brandon Lane, lanecampaign.com. Great young man. I mean, a young gun for the true conservative movement. But listen, folks. My goal is to let you know the real key issues that are going on in this country, the things that are happening. And you can only do so much on airtime. You can't talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Though, you know, I wish I could try. But the fact of the matter is that's why we have websites. That's why we have information. You have got to do your due diligence. You have got to get out there and understand that the decisions we make today will be our life tomorrow. We've got to understand that if we don't do something now, okay, we are not going to have a very good road ahead. Okay, and right now, just visualize what we just talked about with the Titanic. Just visualize wherever you're at within that hierarchy. Because some of the people, guess what? They were sunk way down below. A lot of people never even got to go to the deck. Because remember when the lifeboats happened? You remember that? When the lifeboats came, guess who got to go on them? The people who were on the top of the deck. And many of you are not on the deck. Many of you are under. You're many, many decks below the main deck. Okay? And you're never going to get to the top. And you're going to drown. Because listen, I don't care if you're on unemployment. I don't care if you think that you're due free money from the government because you believe that big businesses are corrupt. The bottom line is this. We live in a world of have and have-nots. You step outside the borders of this country, ladies and gentlemen, and you try, and the people who try to push against the machine, okay, rage against the corporate America, you try to do that in other parts of the world, they don't allow it. They kill you or they imprison you. At least in this country, we're allowed the free exchange of ideas and information, and we can challenge the people that are in power. But we also cannot be foolish enough to think that those who take the risk and build businesses and take the risk of failure, and we believe that they're the ones that are the enemy, the ones that we need to go work for, though that's the enemy, then that's insanity. This country is designed for capitalism. It is designed for people who are willing to take risks. It's designed for people that have great ideas. Okay? And we're getting to a dangerous point now that the people who have great ideas can't get loans. We're getting to a point right now that the people who have great ideas don't have the ability to get them out to the free market because the market is so upside down, so discombobulated. The reality is we have got to take the time to evaluate where we're at, to invest our money in the people that can make us a bright future. And that is not the people with their hand out. Okay? You have to have people who want a hand up. And if, folks, those of you who believe that the enemy is corporate America, listen, I'm not telling you that some of the people in corporate America are not corrupt. There are. But the majority of them are not. Those are the people who need great workers. They need people like you to work for them so they can make a profit, so you can get a raise. That's kind of the way the free market works, right? And then everybody does better. That's not where we're at right now. We have more people on unemployment than in history. We have more people on receiving welfare than any time in history. You know, we had Mitt Romney thrown over a cliff because he said 47% of the people wouldn't vote for him. They didn't. 47% didn't. Those exact people did not, and they would not have. We have to start having factual conversations about where we're at in this country because it's garbage in, garbage out. And folks, that's why we do this broadcast. That's why we have Be First in Media. That's why we have Be First in Business. And the bottom line is we can't do it without you. And when we come back, there's some more capitalism out there. There's other things going on, things that we're going to talk about that are pro-capitalism. What can you do in this holiday season to make sure that you help the economy? Part of it could be lifting over that label, you know. Lift up the label and see where something's made. Pay attention. Do what you can. Spend maybe a little bit more money to buy something made here in America. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. This is Craig Bushon. We'll be back. Welcome back, folks. Craig Bushon Show live out, Heroes Night Out. Go to heroesnightout.org. We take the show on the road as much as possible, and every time I come here, I try to use my beautiful camo backdrop themed to the Craig Bushon Show. Later on in the program, we're going to have a veteran and a wonderful human being, big-time gamer, interesting guy. He's a new part of the Be First in Media family, and the name of the show is Gamer, and we're launching it right here on the Craig Bushon Show. Very excited about that because, listen, I'm a gamer. I have to say, I tell my kids, they can be into all the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and the Wiis and all that, but listen, if it wasn't for us, for my generation, the Pongers. I'm a Ponger, I need a shirt that says that. If it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be any of this stuff today. Just want you to know that. Started right here. So whenever you think we're not in or we're not hip and we don't get it, if it wasn't for us laying the foundation through suffering through Pong, where we had to actually sit right next to the person and slide the dial up and down. All right? Those days. Yeah, we did that for you. Which camera, this one or this one? I don't even know. We have cameras everywhere. But the bottom line is, then we had to suffer through, there was Sega, like the original Segas, and there was, even Commodore 64 had some games on it, I think, back in the day. A lot of horrible gaming situations we had to go through, because when Donkey Kong came out, that was awesome on the Nintendo. When Nintendo launched, that was the key to everything. But listen, I can't get into it now. See how excited I am? That's why it's a part of the show. And Gamer is something that's going to grow. We know you love it. We've had great feedback. Obviously, military, a lot of people out there. Listen, a lot of you, I'm pro military, pro first responder. A lot of people out there, listen, you play these games. And some of the stats, I'm going to repeat them like I did from last week. A lot of you out there in your 50s are playing video games. So we'll talk more about that with James Gaspar with the great new show called Gamer. But hey, folks, you know what's happening right now? Made in America, like I promised, we're going to talk about what is made in America. Okay? What can you spend your money on in 2012? The last days of 2012, what can you spend your money on? Can you spend it on anything that's made in America? Well, Duraflame, Duraflame logs, the ones you put in your fireplace, especially this time of year, they're made in America. And what's so great about that, folks, is you get to watch your money burn twice. Yeah. The the Duraflame log came out in 1968. Little trivia right there. 1968. And California Cedar Products Company was producing pencils, and it found it could recycle the sawdust created in the wood. And Duraflame. It says in Duraflame to not put more than one log on the fire? Have you ever done that? I don't know what happens. Did it blow up? Did something happen? I don't know, but it says do not do that. What else is made in America? I'm going to go for a few things made in America. Then I got some interesting statistics for you, and about how many jobs it would create in this country if you actually bought an American-made product at Christmas time, or Hanukkah time, or Kwanzaa time, or Atheist time. I don't care. Whenever you buy a gift, but right now we'll focus on Christmas. Just a Christmas holiday. How many jobs? I'm going to tell you that in a few minutes. It's going to blow your mind, so stay tuned. Hey, another thing, Spanx, with an X, SPANX by Sarah Blankley, cotton comfort boxer briefs, also made in America. Sarah Blankley's revolutionary line of slimming footless pantyhose and undergarments were invented in 2000 in Atlanta. So I'm trying to tell you, if you need to buy some pantyhose for any reason, buy American, go to Spanx. Don't know where the name came from. That's interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Another made Sub-Zero refrigerators. Sub-Zero refrigerators. Listen, most people on getting Obama phones don't have Sub-Zero refrigerators. Let's put it to you that real quick, because they're not inexpensive. But this company comes out of Madison, Wisconsin in 1943. Sub-Zero's, let's see, Wolf Incorporated, Madison, Wisconsin, invented the world's first freestanding freezer in the basement of his home in Madison, Wisconsin in 1943. The Sub-Zero refrigerator. Expensive refrigerators, but made in America. They're awesome. They're huge. You can get them. They're like wood cabinets in the front. They got them with TVs in them. A lot of cool stuff. So that's a reason to be a 1%er, by the way. You want to be in the top 1%. Go to the Craig Bushon Show. Go to the BFIM link, Be First in Media. Click on our store. Get the 1%. Be in the 1%. Be the person that is not in the 99% of people who don't make enough money to buy Sub-Zero refrigerators. Anyway, I digress. I don't want to get too far and deep into that. Hey, here's one for you. Here's one. A lot of guys out there and ladies. Here's one that everyone's heard of. Made in America. There should be a red bow for any of you who get one of these. Right in your driveway. Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, founded in 1903, Harley-Davidson is an iconic cut-like American motorcycle company facing stiff foreign competition. Think of Yamaha and Honda, but listen, Harley-Davidson made in America. Okay, what else we got? You want to buy something? Hey, listen, a lot of people out there are going to buy blenders. You're going to buy a toaster. You're going to buy a microwave. You're going to buy a stove. I don't know, something that's, a KitchenAid type of product. Well, KitchenAid mixers, they are made in America, in Benton Charter Township, Michigan. So KitchenAid still makes many of its products in the U.S. So that's a great thing. If you're building a new house, you got to buy something new for your home. You're going to buy that blender. Listen, a lot of you are going to get blenders or buy blenders for Christmas. You got to make that holiday food. Make sure that you buy a KitchenAid mixer, and that's owned by the Whirlpool Corporation. And I got to tell you, I just purchased a Whirlpool dryer. So I'm very excited about that. And let's see what else we have here. Weber grills. Oh, my God. Let me sit back for a minute. The Weber grill. A lot of people out there cook I'm not even talking about gas grills, by the way. The Weber grill I've cooked with for years. I have went through more than one Weber grill over the last 15 years of my grilling days. And Weber grills, made in the United States since 1952, when George Stephan built his kettle grill from a buoy at Weber Brothers and Metalworks. So that's a cool thing. And listen, Weber grill, a lot of barbecue grills will be sold this holiday season, this Christmas. Go buy a Weber grill. Man, I knew I loved it. I knew the meat just tasted a little bit better. But I didn't realize it's really because it's made in America. Here's another one. This is one that you will know. You'll have to write this down, make notes during this program. Make sure that you write down the different companies I'm telling you, okay, that are made in America, and you need to do it on a Post-it note. Because Post-it notes are a 3M product made right here in the United States out of St. Paul, Minnesota. And if you bought your Post-it note in the U.S., you can be sure it was made in the U.S. too. The product invented by 3M employee Art Fry. Now, think about that. 3M, big company, still makes every Post-it note that you buy in this country in America. Okay, we've got a couple more here. Now, here's one. The 8-pound Oreck. That guy, the Oreck vacuum guy. How about this? Oreck Corporation, one of the nation's top vacuum makers and a staple among late-night infomercials, was founded by David Oreck in 1963. Product is still made in America. So if you have a chance to buy a vacuum, something that's going to suck things up, how about sucking up the bad economy by putting Americans to work? All right? Nothing better than buying an Oreck product. The Oreck XL is made right here in the United States. What else we got? This is interesting stuff, folks. I mean, you got to know where to spend your money. Here's one. Here we are again, back in the kitchen. Pyrex. Pyrex is one of the most widely known makers of kitchen containers and bakeware, found in 80% of American households, owned by the Corning Corporation, World Kitchen LLC, I should say. Pyrex, Pyrex. So if you're going to buy something for your kitchen and you're at the store, buy Pyrex, putting an American to work. What else we have here? I have a lot of Pyrex in my kitchen. Let's see here. How about this? Wow. How about, as you're surfing around the web, listen, a lot of people out there are going to be buying laptop computers. Okay? A lot of laptops being bought this Christmas. Intel chips. When it says Intel inside, it might as well say there's an American inside it. There's an American inside. I think they should change their Intel logo to a red, white, and blue that says American inside. Chipmaker Intel currently produces more than 75% of its microprocessors in the U.S., despite international purchases accounting for 75%. The bottom line is I'd like it to be 80%, but it's a heck of a lot better than the 0% by many other companies out there. So Intel inside is American jobs inside. So when you have a chance to buy something like a computer and you see a little sticker on there that says something inside, make sure it's Intel. So that's interesting. So that's great information. I'll put a link up to this up on Facebook. Just go to Craig Bushon Show, click on the Facebook link. Please tell all your friends, by the way, to like the Craig Bushon Facebook page. We have a few thousand. We're trying to get a few thousand more. And let's see here. How about if I told you this? The average American, folks, big stat. Why should you spend your money in America? It's all about jobs, right? It's all about putting people back to work. It's all about that. I heard everyone talk about it during the presidential election. Heck, it's all about jobs. Well, here's an interesting statistic. The average American will spend $700 on holiday gifts and goodies this year, totaling more than $465 billion. The National Retail Federation estimates if that money was spent entirely on U.S.-made products, it would create, get this, folks, 4.6 million jobs. Think about how much money we spend on unemployment in this country. You think we're not paying? Listen, we're saving money buying from China. Are you crazy? We are spending far more money by buying something cheap right now. Key reason, well, unemployment like through the roof. Other one, we're funding our future enemy of our current military, okay, of our current freedom, I should say, and our military's got to be geared up. Tremendous amount of money we're going to have to spend there. Every dollar we think we're saving now, we're going to have to spend a far more later on defending ourselves against communists. I mean, communists. Where's Webster's dictionary? I should probably put the definition of communists up for y'all. But 4.6 million jobs? If we purchased all of our gifts that we are doing this holiday season, it would be 4.6 million jobs. Okay? That's at $465. Excuse me, that's at $700 per person. Now let's chip it down. Let's say, I can't do that. I mean, come on. I got to buy this. I got to buy that. I mean, I got a China size, man. I got a China size. Because I got no other way to do it. Because nothing's made in China. You flip over the label, and it don't say made in America most of the time. It says made in China. Okay? How about this? If $64 is spent, just $64 by every person this holiday season, that would generate 200,000 new American jobs. If $64 was spent on an American-made product per person that's spending $700, mind you, it would generate 200,000 new jobs. That's not much, $64. Made in America products have been harder and harder for people to find, so that's why I wanted to put up, a link. Go to just go online and Google it. Just Google it. Google Made in America products. Okay, that's a big deal. Now, the bottom line is this, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't start really looking at the bottom line and where we think we're saving our money, and we're not saving money by investing in other countries, making products cheaper and with less quality. And I'll say this in closing. Whenever you think you're saving money and you buy something, and all these stores have great return policies. Here's a modern-day terrorist act. Let me put something. Let me just kind of leave you with this. When you buy, whether it's lawn furniture or a television set or a new Chinese-made cell phone or any, dog food or whatever thing that you have to have that breaks, but it has a great warranty, you can bring it back. Think about the time it takes. Say, I'll never forget. I bought a real quick story. I went to a big box store and I purchased lawn furniture by a very big name. A name that you would think, yeah, that's made in America. Not. And I took it home, and I put it together, and it was outside. Lawn furniture is designed to be outside. Okay. Most lawns are outside. At least in my neighborhood they are. Okay? I don't have like a dome over my backyard. So that means the sun hits them and, the weather. Well, a month later, welds were starting to break on the chairs. Cheap. Okay? So, good news. I got a great warranty. Yeah. You know when they come in boxes, you got to put them together? You kind of throw the boxes away, and then you got to go bring them back? How do you do that? You gonna take it apart? No, you have to get a trailer, borrow a neighbor's truck, or whatever it is. Whatever inconvenient way you have to do it, you bring it back. That's all time. Okay? That's time you can't do other things. Add up the time that you can't go fight for the American dream. You can't read a book. You can't go to school. You can't play with your kids. Think about this, folks. How many products you buy that you think you're saving money on this Christmas season, and it ends up breaking the same day you put it together, or it breaks while you're putting it together? How about that one? Now I got to bring it back to the store. Problem is, folks, yeah, they're going to exchange it for you, but it's going to take your time, it's going to take your gas, it's going to take your life away. To me, that's a form of terrorism, because it is something that we should only have to do once, that we have to do multiple times, because things are breaking because they're cheap. And so I don't get excited when everything has a great warranty on it, when I have to use that warranty. Okay? See, it used to be things had a great warranty when they had a great product, a great quality, and they could put a great warranty on it because they knew it wouldn't break. Now, they put great warranties on it because they know it's cheap to produce. They can make it out of junk, and then when it does break, it doesn't cost them much at all to send you another piece of crap. But it costs you a fortune. So whenever you think you're going to get away with something because it's cheaper, you're not. You're always going to pay. And I'm totally serious, folks. We are this year, $465 billion, and over 90% of it's going to be given to a foreign country who doesn't like America, other than we give them money. That's it. So you need to go out, spend a few extra dollars. Don't be cheap. If you look at a product and it's 10% more, 15% more, buy it. I would rather buy less for my kids and let them know that this is made in America than buy a whole bunch of junk that is feeding their future enemy. Because if you don't think the holiday season plays in the political mind, the political future, I should say, of this country, you're crazy. That is $465 billion is being sent to places that are not our friends. That are not our friends. I would love to buy from other capitalist countries. We do not need to keep doing this. We have got to make sure that we educate our kids. So instead of 10 gifts under the tree, maybe there's 5. Instead of 5, maybe there's 3. But teach them why they have that. And look at the quality difference. Look at the quality difference. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate you tuning in today. Another great segment coming up. Again, you're watching the Craig Bushon Show from Heroes Night Out. Go to heroesnightout.org. If you haven't, got it yet through the tenor of my voice, that I am totally serious about us turning things around in this country. I'm totally serious about doing it on purpose. I'm totally serious that we have enemies among us. We have people that we, the people, need to find out about, and we need to do the best we can to make tomorrow a better day than today, and today a better day than yesterday. And the only way to do that is on purpose. But hey, here's some good news. Coming up next segment, I got a guy coming on. He knows what it's like. He's a veteran. He's been outside the borders of this country. He's seen the thorns and thistles that we must battle to be a free nation. But he's also got another side. He's got a fun side. He's got a side that he's got the gamer side. And he's the host of the brand new program right up, and just so you know this, I posted up on Facebook. If you go to Craig Bushon on Facebook, you will see this brand new logo, and I think we're going to be tweaking it from here. But right now, we have James Gaspar coming up after the break. The name of the show is called Gamer, Game On. That's what I say. I mean, get my joystick out. Yeah. Get my chalk and put it on my hand because they sweat, you know. A little red button. Yeah, good stuff. This is Craig Bushon. We'll be right back. Welcome, folks, back to the Craig Bushon Show, live from Heroes Night Out. Go to heroesnightout.org. Boy, James Gaspar, first of all, is the new family member of the BFIM media team, and he is the host of our brand new, what's soon to be a very hot program called Gamer. But at first, I have to say, James, you are wearing probably, I think it's the best logo in all of NFL sports.
You mean the Nintendo?
That'd be incorrect.
Go Texans!
Yes, right. Go Texans. That's right. You know, Texans, of course, 11-1 tomorrow night's Monday Night Football. They got a big challenge against the New England Patriots. So we'll see what happens there. It's a good challenge for them. But hey, welcome back to the show, James.
It's good to be back. I missed you guys last week. Man, I got to tell you, so much has happened in the last 2 weeks. There's just a lot going on right now. Huge things. Let's start off with the Spike TV VGA Awards. Do you know about those?
I do, absolutely.
This is the 10th annual VGA Awards. It was hosted by, I'm totally messing that up, but it was hosted by Samuel L. Jackson.
Snakes on the Train.
Snakes on the Train. They actually had, in presenting him and getting him ready, they were doing a lot of quotes, May the Force be with you, stuff from Pulp Fiction, things like that.
Sure.
A lot of fire and effects. They actually started the show off with a tribute to The Hobbit, South Park style. It was hilarious. Go to spiketv.com. You can check it out. Congratulations to Borderlands. And that was one of the games I was talking about last time we did Gamer. Borderlands 2 kind of stole the award show. They got 5 or 6 awards that night.
Really?
Yes. Best shooting game, best male action figure, best character through their Claptrap, which is a little robot. He's funny, kind of quirky. It was a great character. Borderlands 2, I've been saying this for a while, has really, really stepped up the game, and they were hanging with all the big boys. This was a game that came out, the first Borderlands game came out a couple of years ago. A lot of people were not sure about it because it bridges that gap. It's kind of an RPG. It's kind of a first-person shooter. It gives both elements of it, and it was funny. And they didn't take it seriously, and they did this new type of graphic called cell shading, and it wasn't high-end graphics, but it was. And what they did is it looked like a comic book. And so they kind of approached the whole game like a comic book.
I've noticed a lot of Japanese games are that way, where a comic book-ish feeling.
Yes. And that goes all the way back to, it actually goes back to World War II after Hiroshima. And that whole Japanese animation, that Japanese style of animation was actually brought on through World War II. And after Hiroshima, they didn't have the artists, they didn't have the production capabilities, there just wasn't money, so animation became very cheap.
Sure.
And Japanese animation, that styling was, at the time, the most inexpensive manufacturing process. It was the most inexpensive process, and it became very popular, and this is what the kids had, growing up in a time when their homeland was completely devastated. Fast forward a couple of years, they grew up on this, and those kids are now adults. And just like we see in the gaming world today, the kids are now adults, and now we're all gamers, and we've taken some of that with us.
And we still use, a PS3 or an Xbox 360 and want to play Defender on it.
Yes.
Or Berserk.
It's funny
kind of a
because
throwback for us.
The arcade classics, they're still selling the original Doom on Xbox Live. You can actually buy the original Doom on Xbox Live, and so a lot of the old classics are still living. You see it on Nintendo. Nintendo has it through their eShop, where you can buy the original Super Mario Brothers, the original Duck Hunt, a lot of the original games are still out there, and they're living through the new consoles.
Well, the Duck Hunt, I think it started with the remote that you have from the first generation Nintendo, I guess.
Yes, it started with that and the light gun.
Yeah, that's what it started with.
Yes. And that's where that's where a lot of people remember, especially our age. A lot of people remember from that generation waking up in the morning, Christmas Day or whatever they got their Nintendo system, and they remember getting on, and all of a sudden there was da 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 da, and that song alone is so famous that people just go around and they know what that song is. I mean, It's been redone so many times. You have choir groups in high school now singing that, doing an a cappella version of that. There is a whole concert series called Video Games Live, and these are video game producers who have gone and taken their music to the road and are selling out worldwide. They're going to be coming here to Austin in January, so. It's a huge, huge, huge. I cannot emphasize how huge that show is. Selling out in L.A. Selling out. Pretty much every show they do is a sold-out show. They incorporate laser lights, huge lighting shows. They use like 3 different projection screens. They have actors come out. And then you have the fans who come out in costumes, almost like a Comic-Con. And they come out and they just enjoy the show. It's a great show. But getting back to the Spike TV Awards, this was big. And one of the big ones, one of the big games that was there, again, Borderlands 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which has been one of my personal favorite games in the last month, did not do as well as everybody thought. I think the Call of Duty's kind of just been drawn out a little bit. My good friend, congratulations by the way, Jack Wall, my good friend, he was in the Final Four showdown for the best original game score for his work on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The other games in that category were Halo 4, Journey, and Max Payne 3. All of these games had great work, a lot of great work, a lot of hard work and talent behind it. In the end, Journey, which was an indie game, won. I could not believe that. Everybody was a little shocked on it.
Really?
Yeah.
So why is it that you see today some game manufacturers will put one game out, and then a year later another game out, and the next year another game out, and it tends like that some get rushed. And people, here's what I get, the feedback I get, even by some of the parents that watch the show, is that they will buy a game, and literally 5 days later, their kids done playing it. They've beaten the game in a matter of hours, and that's it. And then they got to trade it in, and then they're gonna lose 60, 70 cents on the dollar.
Okay, well that actually brings us back into some of what I was going to talk about on the show today, DLC, which is downloadable content. Yes, no, the games are not rushed, although sometimes they feel that way, and there is. I mean, like any other market out there, the developers come up with a concept. They have the programmers, developers, and the guy who says, this is my great idea. I want to have a game with a robot that shoots things, and these things do this, and maybe there's some aliens or something else. But somebody has an idea, or a group of people have an idea. They come up with a concept, maybe draw it out, and usually it's on napkins from what I've seen. And they go to whatever studio and present it. And the studio decides that they are going to be the financier. In other words, the studio is the bank. They provide the money that allows the game to be built. At that point, the studio says, here is a date. It is a hard date. You're going to meet this date to per contract to be able to put this game out. So there is some pressure from the game designers to be able to put these games out. We actually saw this happen with Blizzard, who put out StarCraft 2. They waited something 15 years to put out StarCraft 2, and it was a big deal. The fans were ready for it. The fans were so ready for it. They waited. Same with Diablo 3. The fans were just ready for it, and Blizzard said, no, we are not going to put a game out that we don't feel is ready.
Well, some games like Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell.
Long gap between some when they come out. I mean, years.
Yes, and that has to deal with the designers. That has to deal with, one...
which now they're making into a movie.
Yes.
Which I can't wait, by the way. Sam Fisher, this is going to be great. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No. Actually, the characters... what you're talking about there is the gaming community... the gaming community and developers are very, very closely tied. The gaming community is a community that is extremely vocal. They're on blogs, they're on podcasts, they're on, radio shows. The gaming community is vocal, and the gaming industry hears them. Mass Effect 3 was a perfect example of that. Mass Effect 3 had a very controversial ending. I'm not going to give away the ending for those who haven't played it, and you should. But the fans were not happy with the ending. It was short, and it left a lot open. The fans were very disappointed in this. Mass Effect 3, the designers went back and they extended it. They didn't change it, and there was a lot of controversy about that in itself because the fans wanted the ending to be changed. Well, the BioWare in Mass Effect 3 decided, no, we're not going to change the ending, but we are going to add on to it. We're going to give you a longer ending. And they released it as a free DLC, downloadable content, to the fans, and they were able to download that and go back and play the extended ending. So let me talk about DLC a little bit for a few minutes here. DLC is downloadable content. And this is where it's good, because as you talked about, a lot of times you buy a game, and maybe you play it. I know I played through Halo 4, and it was extremely short. The shortest game in that series. And I felt, man, this is too short. I couldn't believe I went through the game in a matter of 2 days. So, DLC is a great way that the game can be added onto. And, again, Borderlands 2 has taken advantage of this. Borderlands 2, and I'm going to use them as an example. In the first Borderlands, you had the game, it was actually a very long game, and you got a lot of good play out of it. And so once you beat the game, they had downloadable content, and that was Mad Moxie's Underdome, and they had a couple other ones out there. General, oh gosh, I can't remember the guy's name, but they had another one and an armory. And it was actually the DLC, the downloadable content, took place after the game was beaten. So it extended the life of the game. And these were all actually, these downloadable contents were fairly long in themselves. To the point that Mad Moxie, and hers was kind of just like this Mad Max, Underdome, lot of creatures coming at you, and it was all survival. You had one chance to survive, and if you died, that was it. You just died, and you had to try all over from scratch. And the point of that downloadable content, that portion of the game, was to survive five rounds or 5 rounds to a wave, and then 5 waves to win that game. And then you had to do that 3 times. And if you died once, that was it.
Interesting.
Yeah, penalty.
But a lot of these DLCs had to be paid for.
Yes.
It's a way for some of the pushback, and as everyone knows, my viewers, I'm a capitalist, but at the same time, sometimes these games feel like that they designed them so they can continually get you for $10 more, $10 more, $15 more, and it never ends. Where they could have put it into the game for $69.95, they didn't.
That has been a controversy for a long time because there are big fans out there saying, "Hey, I paid $60 for my game, and now you guys want me to pay another $10, another $15 to get extra out of it?" No, I'm a firm believer in the downloadable content. I think it's great. A lot of it is because some of the envision isn't really seen when the game is designed. Sometimes there's things in the game that in the development of the game they just didn't have time to pay attention to the little detail here or a little detail there, or they in the development of the game, like writing a book. Sometimes you just say, "Hey, I could have put this in later." I wish I would have done that, but now it's produced. Downloadable content gives them that option to say, hey, we can add to this.
But do they know it? Do you believe that they know it when they do it?
Yes.
And because when they so shouldn't some say beta mode? I mean, shouldn't some say, 2.0 is coming out soon?
Mass Effect 3 actually made that mistake. Mass Effect 3, when they came out, day one that it was released, they had downloadable content to buy. And a lot of the consumers out there were saying, "Hey, why are you sticking us with this? Why didn't you just put it in the game?" Actually, it was a separate team. It was a completely separate team who had a beta version of the game prior to it, and were already in the process. BioWare wanted to put extra content out there for the fans to be able to play. Here's the thing with downloadable content: you don't have to buy it. It's not forced on you. The game will still play, and so if it's a game that you really like, for me, I loved Borderlands, and so this was a game I was really vested into the characters, into the story, into the gameplay. And so when it came around and I said, hey, I beat the game, well, I chose to go ahead and pay an extra $10 or pay an extra $20. I actually got the season pass where I paid $24 and I just get everything now.
Yeah, and that's a big thing to think about this holiday season, folks, is that how do you buy the video game for your child? Or maybe you need to buy one for yourself and you need to buy gifts for other people. How do you make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck? That's where some of these platinum editions, some of these, when you buy a game when it comes out, whether it's Call of Duty or whatever, Halo, whatever game it is, sometimes they'll come out with a platinum series or a higher level that you can buy for a little more money, but it gives you far more. Say you pay $10 more, $20 more, it gives you $100 more worth of stuff.
We're seeing that a lot with basically Game of the Year editions, and that is the Game of the Year editions tend to come out about a year afterwards, after the game's been released, and a lot of times they have all the downloadable content with it, and if you buy it new as opposed to used, you also get the online pass. And the online pass was something that a lot of the game developers kind of got together and said, hey, we've got people buying used games. We're not sure we really want them to play and have all the premium content that the guys who paid $60 have. And so we're going to charge them, if they buy it used, we're going to charge them $10 so they can have the premium online content. And they did that through a pass. When you buy the Game of the Year edition or you buy it new, the game comes with that online pass. You type in your code and you get the premium online content. So yes, used games, Game of the Year editions are great ways to go, especially for gifts. Huge, great way to go. And the season passes, I really like the concept of that because, like you said, the downloadable content got really expensive. I would, you could pay almost $40. In Borderlands, in the first Borderlands game, you could pay almost $40 or more for all the downloadable content. Well, at that point, you just bought a second game. So now the industry has realized, hey, we got gamers. A lot of gamers are younger, and then the ones who are not younger have families. And so now this is a way for them to say, this is a fair price. You can go out and get all the downloadable content you want or need. Here's a fair price for it, and you just get what you want. And if you want everything, we have the season pass, and you can just pay for it all up front. And basically, it's buy 3 get 1 free is the rule of thumb I've seen on that.
Sure. And again, folks, you're watching the Craig Bushon Show from Heroes Night Out, and I'm with James Gaspar. He is a new host, or I should say he is a new member of the Be First Media family, and he's also the host of a brand new show we call Gamer. And I know you have some gaming news. I mean, what's going right now? What's trending right now? To steal a Twitter phrase. But the fact is, there's a lot of gaming news going on. So what you got?
Okay, so here's the deal with it. Console game sales have actually declined this year. There's a lot fewer sales than they were expecting from last year, and that could be the economy. That could be a number of things. It could just be that there's not as many games released, although it feels like there's been a lot of games released this year.
What if I said, here's my opinion. I've been buying consoles for 20 years, 20 plus years. I believe people in the back of their mind are waiting for the Xbox 720 or whatever, or they're waiting for the PS4. They believe that something's going to come out, and they don't want to be caught with it's getting close.
Okay.
It's getting close.
So there's a lot of rumors saying it is getting close. Nobody has released anything. Nobody's released. Xbox has not released anything, and I don't think we're going to see anything till at least the end of 2013.
Because the games, they're pushing the Xboxes to their limits now.
Yes.
I mean, there are now games can do far more than what Xbox sees. If you look at a game, folks, this is my personal opinion, because I'll game on a computer. Okay, I look at the same, whether it's Battlefield 3, and I look at it, and we have Xbox 360, we have PS3, and then we have my PC, gaming PC.
Yes.
Light years in quality of the game playing, in my opinion, and just the way it looks, the map, how far you can see. It's just it lends us to think, wow, wait a minute, games now are so much farther advanced than what the consoles can do now. It just feels like it's time. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. It just feels like it's time.
They've been saying that for the last year. A lot of people have been saying that for the last year, and you were hearing it at the end of the last holiday season, where people were saying, hey, we're ready for it. And it's all over the magazines. It's all over Game Informer. It's in PC Gamer. Everybody's talking about, hey, the consoles have lived their lifespan, and it's been a big deal. The new console out, the Wii U, which, by the way, 400,000 were snapped up in the first week.
Wow.
Yeah, so that did fairly well. A lot of people are ready for these consoles, but again, Sony hasn't released a name. They haven't released specs. They haven't released anything about the new consoles yet. Microsoft has not released any information about this new console that may or may not be coming out. We don't know. Nothing's really been set in stone, so if you've got a fear of buying a console right now, don't worry about it. And by the way, there's always a transitional phase. So for all these Xbox 360 owners or your PlayStation 3 owners, even if a new console comes out at the end of next year, so we're talking about Christmas time 2013, they're still going to be making games for PlayStation 3, for Xbox 360.
Sure. Well, there's another reason I bring it up. I'm at, right here, there is my GameStop Power Up Rewards card.
Which is on my list of things to give to gamers.
Okay, and we'll get to that, but it's just, I was in there the other day. I won't say which one I was in. But here's how I know, James, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I do not have the expertise that you and many of you watching this have. But I will tell you, I listen to the folks. And the guy behind the counter, for the first time ever, said that he's now gaming more and more on a PC. Now, that's in a company that does very little for that industry. It's more for the consoles. So when I see even people in the industry that are selling for consoles saying, you know, man, you should see, exact words, you should see this game on a PC, on a gaming computer.
Absolutely.
That tells me that there's a little layer of frustration that, wait a minute, come on, give me more, because they have the capability of giving more. And the proof is they see it on a PC. And there's always been a little bit better on a PC or on a gaming laptop than what you'd see on a console. But now it's getting farther and farther apart.
Yes, the Xbox 360 is an aging system. The PlayStation 3 is also an aging system. That being said, they're still very powerful systems. I mean, the Xbox 360 actually was at one point suspected to be the next generation Apple, and that's the reason is it's an IBM G series processor. It's a triple core processor, and that was supposedly right before Apple went to the Intel chips. There was some question about whether or not that was going to be the chip. There's rumor out there that after Apple dumped IBM, they ended up marketing that chip to Microsoft as a new gaming chip. It's a triple core processor, still a very, very powerful processor. Put it in perspective, the PlayStation 3 is actually a supercomputer.
Right. Well, I'll tell you. I'll make your point. I was with my son, and we went and got Far Cry 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, just a I'm a huge fan of that feel, that look of a game. Okay, very graphic, very you're in its world. It draws you in, right? But the frame rate, we bought it on Xbox 360, and we're trying to play it online. The frame rate just was not there. I'm getting a headache trying to play this. The great folks at GameStop, I'm telling you, GameStop does a great job. So we go to GameStop, and they actually, because we buy a lot of games through there, and they know that I'm the PS3 guy, and then the computer guy, and then my son's more the Xbox 360, then the PS3 guy. We went back and got it on PS3, light years difference in the frames per second. Just the whole processing was much better. Making your point about the processor inside a PS3, it's far more substantial. I don't care what anyone says. I know because I've seen them side by side.
I love the Xbox 360. Love it, love it, love it. But I will admit the graphics are better on a PlayStation 3. And that's because they have a cell-based processing. For instance, like I was saying, the PS3 is actually a supercomputer. The Air Force has thousands, I think it's like something like 2,000 PlayStation 3s all linked together. And as more PlayStation 3s are linked together, that cell-based processing starts enabling it. So it becomes actually a faster, more powerful processor.
Really?
So the more of them you add, the more powerful it gets.
So they're feeding up like true synergy.
True synergy. The Air Force uses the PlayStation 3 as their supercomputer. And it's thousands of them all linked together running special software.
Wow.
Same thing happens when you're doing your console gaming with the PlayStation 3. So as you're playing online, the more of them that are linked together start using that cell-based processing power and starts becoming more powerful. They do have an advantage, and the PlayStation 3 has always had an advantage in the graphics field. It is truly a more powerful chip. Sony did a great job on that. Where they're lacking and where Xbox ends up winning is through their live services, and that is the social aspect, the ease of gaming is considerably better, and I think that plays into the heart of gamers and saying, hey, if I want to play a game and I want to play with my friends, I'd rather it be easier, and this is the field that we're playing on, than what PlayStation has done. PlayStation is only recently, after they got hacked, starting putting money into this.
And that's it, because they gave it away.
They gave it away.
Pay, and then when you're not paying and you're not making money from it, the bean counters out there, they're not going to put money into something that they're not making money from.
Well, they marketed that to the gamers as, hey, you can play, you don't have to pay for live services. You could just come over here to the PlayStation and play for free. And a lot of gamers liked that for a long time. The problem is it's a little bit more complicated than Xbox Live is. And so for your PlayStation 3 gamers, they absolutely loved it, and you had to be a hardcore PlayStation 3 gamer. And if you were an Xbox gamer, that was where it was at. And so they're kind of developed this two sides of a coin. Of you're either a PlayStation 3 gamer or you're an Xbox 360 gamer. If you're like me, I play a little everything.
Sure, right.
And so I have all the systems. I have a Wii U. I just got that. I have the PlayStation 3. I have two Xbox 360s. I have a portable one, and I have the one that stays at home. I also have a PC and do PC gaming on that, although my PC is getting a little bit older.
Well, and it seems like the manufacturers, whether it's Sony, obviously, who does a lot of different stuff, all right, you have Microsoft Network, which is really Xbox 360, and you have the Windows 8. You got everyone's, and then you have Apple, which you're on right there, right? And everyone's going after, not to discount Nintendo and the Wii's and all that, but then you look at the game playing the engines. You look at Naughty Dog. I'm a huge Naughty Dog fan. Sony purchases Naughty Dog. It's like companies are making a strategic move now to really own a place in gaming by being the engine of gaming. And where Naughty Dog, I think they're one of the real motherships of really pushing the envelope.
Absolutely. You have the Unreal Engine, which has been around for a long time, Unreal 3, and Unreal 3 was a interesting game. It kind of ran on the first-person shooter. It was kind of like Call of Duty or Call of Duty before there was Call of Duty, and that was this massive online arena-style gaming, and Unreal kind of took the champion of that. Quake was doing it for a while, and they kind of got taken over by Unreal. The Unreal Engine, their technology and their programming languages have been the standard for a long time, and now there's an Unreal Engine 4 in beta that I've seen in PC Gamer, and so everybody's kind of really excited about this because now they don't have to do things by mistake on purpose with lighting. Now it has lighting incorporated into it.
Okay.
But now it's a question of everybody. It's kind of been a yin and a yang. The consoles have been waiting for the programming language. The programming language has been waiting for the consoles. They're starting to now come together. We may be seeing a new console in the next year, but again, it's still a good time to buy, especially right now because the holiday season. You've got
what can people get? A lot of people, you mentioned earlier, the economy. People hear about the fiscal cliff. People hear, they hear that there's an uncertain future maybe in their own life as far as their job maybe
I'm
or
telling
whatever.
you, now,
what can people do that's affordable that makes sense?
Okay, now is the time to buy. Just flat out, now is the time to buy. Right now with the holiday season, gaming systems are at their cheapest. And this is a time where the gaming industry really understands and knows that they're going to make a lot of their money right now, being gifts, for being gifts or replacements. Last year, my Xbox actually died around this time, and I ended up getting one of the holiday sets that came with Halo and it came with Fable 3. So I ended up getting 2 games with it. And right now we're seeing that come back. So everybody's got their own holiday package. PlayStation 3, Xbox, they both have really great priced holiday kits. And they're at every store you can find out there. And then a lot of, like GameStop has their own little special add-on to that. So right now is the time to buy it, and we're seeing them as low as like $250. Microsoft Store is another one that keeps up with it. I know that we have a Microsoft Store here in Austin.
We do, right? In the domain. Absolutely right.
In the domain. And I've been surprised at some of the prices because their prices are very competitive, and I wouldn't have thought so because they're kind of a specialty store, but some of the best gear I've gotten is through them, like my games unit, which I actually have it here, and you guys will hopefully someday see it in the behind the scenes footage. But I actually have it here. So while Craig Bushon was doing his show, I was actually playing Halo 4 in the back,
taking advantage of the time.
So yeah, it's now is the time to buy. It really is. If you're looking for a good console, if you've been holding off for all these years, now is the time to buy.
Now, what about buying extended warranties? Some people will say, hey, you go to a place and they say, hey, would you like to put an extended warranty on this?
I tend to stay away from them. Some of them places do it, and it's really up to you. It depends on how hard you are on your game, how hard are you on your gaming system. If you're like me and have a gaming system that's portable, it's going to get a little more wear and tear. Even though it's in that game's case, it still gets a little bit more wear and tear just being packaged up, packaged back in, and traveling around in the back of the car. Or even being open and playing in the car.
And there's built-in warranties, too. Like one of the big things with Xbox 360, and a lot of you out there, a lot of you parents know this, is the red ring of death. Yeah, but there's already a built-in warranty from Xbox if that happens.
There is. In fact, my Wii U, when I bought it, actually came defective. It was defective out of the box. And so, Nintendo was really, really good about going through the process to make sure.
So Nintendo's doing it too. So it pays. These people are really making their money from the game, buying games too. So they want to keep you in the game.
Yes.
No pun intended. By keeping you with a console.
Yes.
But they're not indestructible either. I mean, they have to be taken care of, and so for people out there who are trying to purchase the right system for their family. Is there one that's better than the other, one that's more durable than the other? Are there certain age brackets you look at, or is it all just personal feelings? But how does that? Let me put the question this way, James. Let's look at a young family.
Yeah.
And they have a couple of kids, and they're all under 10, and they're both under 10, and they've never had a gaming console before, but they're about to be teenagers too soon. How do you steer them?
Well, that's where I'd say go with the Nintendo Wii U, because Nintendo has really done a good job about understanding their gamers, their clients in this case, but they're gamers. And when they came out with the first Wii, they alienated that hardcore gamer base.
Oh, no doubt about it.
But they gained a very young and a very old age base. With the Wii U, they brought that back because they opened up. The opening day, they had Mass Effect 3, Assassin's Creed 3, Ninja Gaiden 3. There's a lot of 3s now. A lot of the sequels are out. But they came out with a lot of these games that have already had a base built up. They've already had a lot of gamers hit on it. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, again, the Wii U. So they've got all the major players in place to bring back the gaming market, the hardcore gamer market. So that would be great for them. It gives them a little opportunity to grow. It's a good unit. I've had a chance to play with it a little bit. I got on it last night and kind of started setting it up. It's a lot of fun. The touchscreen controller actually works as your television and cable box controller. It's extremely
very popular these days.
It's extremely easy to set up. That would be a good place to start. I mean, and as they grow, maybe they go into the more hardcore. The Xbox and the PlayStation 3 are definitely for your more hardcore gamers. They've been around the gaming community a little bit. They've played for some time, and it's kind of that's the more hardcore gamers, the more adult gamers would definitely be with the Xbox and PlayStation 3.
Absolutely.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Okay. Uh-oh.
How would you like to cure AIDS?
How would I like to cure AIDS? Okay. Cancer? Absolutely. How do we do
that? Believe it or not, I have found this. You can help cure AIDS with a video game.
Okay. There's something to this. There's a trap being set for me. There's something going on. How does this? How can a video game? Okay, so they must buy it, and then a percentage of that goes to.
No, absolutely not.
How does that happen?
Fold It was actually a game developed by a gentleman, and this game. It's called Fold It, and you can look it up. What it does is it uses real science dealing with RNA and other molecules in your body. And the idea is to be able to fold the DNA and RNA molecules as tightly as possible. Those results actually go back to the science lab, and they found that it actually is working, and they have found a new treatment.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but tell me a little bit more on how that's happening.
And as I'm pulling it up right now...
And it's called Fold It. You're at Fold It.
I'm at Fold It, fold.it/portal. And what it is you go in and you install the game, and as you play it, the results go to the science team, and they can see how you folded this DNA. And it gives you rules on how to fold, and it teaches you how to fold. And they were seeing players actually... folding in new and different ways. In fact,
now I get it.
A 9-year-old actually found a new development for AIDS by playing Fold It.
Really?
Yes. And there's another one to it. The game maker, the guy who did it, and I can't remember his name offhand, did another one called Eterna. And what's cool about Eterna, again, it's by the same guy who did Fold It. Eterna actually sends your results to a science lab. So as you're manipulating these DNA cells and these different cells, they actually take that to a science lab and manufacture that. And they were saying at first they weren't seeing any development. All of a sudden, 6 months down the road, the players were getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And by the it's kind of a social media experiment. Yeah. But as they did it as a social media experiment, but they actually go through and develop whatever whatever you made, created in this game. They develop that and then send you the results.
So if you help cure it, do you get the profit from the sales?
I don't think so.
I mean, so basically the other side of this is that they have all this free labor
Yes.
helping them develop stuff that nobody makes any money on except them. Now, obviously, people being cured from the disease, that's worth more than the money. But obviously, if it's a pharma company out there, they're making some bank.
Well, and actually, I saw this on Nova, and it kind of piqued my interest, so I looked into it a little bit more. But what they were saying is actually that the computers don't have the capable processing power to do the mathematics to it. And what happened is they're actually using the processing power of the brain in mass quantities. So by having 1.4 million users and 1.4 million minds,
Sure,
not computers,
right,
actual people,
and the flexibility that we have. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That computer is a lot of hard rights and lefts, edges, and it's bits and bytes. It does not have fluidity. You can look at Siri. You can look at a lot of different things. Google's got its new upgrade that happens. You can speak to your phone and all that. And the fact is, they're not. It's not fluid, and it can't. It doesn't understand kind of the rhythm of life that I see what they're tapping into is kind of that rhythm that computers can't do.
Yes.
Computers are just they're just like a bean counter in a sense. It's just garbage in, garbage out. It's bits and it's bytes. So I see how that makes sense.
Yes. The other big one is PTSD, and we see that a lot with the veterans coming home.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Post-traumatic stress. Wired magazine actually did an article about how the U.S. Army is now using video games in the treatment of PTSD.
Yeah.
It's experimental. I've seen several articles on this in different psychiatric magazines talking about Tetris. The theory behind it is that it distracts the mind from the outside world and allows it to start processing in its own natural fashion.
Does it now? Some people would think that if you're looking at someone who has PTSD and they have PTSD because they went into they were in the Middle East and they're sweeping houses, if you will, and they're going in and then they're doing the same thing in a video game. Some people would think that could trigger a response and kind of throw them back in that scenario.
Again, it's done with doctors in a lab setting. So right now there's several different treatments going on. I haven't seen all of them, and they haven't really been too forthcoming about what they are, as far as whether they're virtual reality, which there is some virtual reality rigs out there. There's some actually using Tetris, just having you play Tetris and Pac-Man, things like that. But they are out there. They're being experimented on, and it's coming out with some surprisingly good results.
Good. Well, that's good. I think technology, it can be a big answer to many of the issues that we have. PTSD obviously is a big deal within our armed forces, and not just in our armed forces. It also has to do with you can get PTSD from being in a car accident. Okay, you can. It's just coming to light in a bigger way because of what's happening with our armed forces. We got about a minute left here.
Okay.
So tell the folks, here we are. Obviously, this is not the end. Gamer will continue. And I'm so excited, once again, James, for having you part of the team within Be First in Media. I think this is a great need out there. And, of course, even with your background with the armed forces, too, there's a huge number of people within the armed forces who play. There's a whole family, if you will. But we got about a minute left here. Tell the folks, what they should be doing.
Okay, well, here's one thing. For all your Halo 4 players out there, Halo 4 is actually doing what's called Halo 4 Infinity Challenge. Go to halo4infinitychallenge.com, and one of the grand prizes is actually a Ford F-150 Raptor done up in UNSC style. That is Halo 4 style. Wow. The other part of that is you get to be a character in the next Halo game.
Really?
Yes. That is Halo 4infinitychallenge.com. Check it out. I'll have the link in the show notes. Always supporting our veterans, and so does Call of Duty. Go to callofdutyendowment.org and help a veteran out. You can go buy these dog tags at GameStop, Walmart, and a couple of different places. This is a big deal because what Call of Duty Endowment does is basically you buy this dog tag. It's metal. It's $4.99. They have it at GameStop, Walmart, Toys R Us, and the proceeds go to helping veterans and soldiers returning find jobs. There's a whole resource page on it at callofdutyendowment.org. And so that's what's going on. I'll have my show notes posted, and I'll get those out to you, Terry Littlepage out there. Thank you for working on the website. Thank you for everybody for joining us at Gamer, and as always, game on.
That's it, folks. Craig Bushon here. Listen, we're tuning off for today. Please stay tuned. You're going to see the links up on Craig Bushon Show. We'll post it on Facebook. Whatever